Hello and welcome to another episode of Who Would Win Masters. Tonight, we descend into the shadows for a battle of dark energy versus darker science. Welcome back to Who Would Win Masters. I am Sam Proof on all of the socials, and in this episode, we're bringing you a clash of Sith Fury versus Armored Genius. It is Darth Vader versus Doctor Doom. The holiday season is upon us, and we are unwrapping a special gift guest tonight. He's the man behind J3Boxing.com, and you know him as an OG part of the Who Would Win podcast. It's Jay Sandlin. Jay, welcome back. How are you?
I am thrilled to be here, happy to be here, and yeah, I like what you said, dark energy versus dark science. Let's get it on.
Nice. Do you want to tell me about J3 Boxing really quick?
Fitness boxing has changed my life in the past year, and it's something I want to pass on to people. I recently became accredited as a fitness boxing instructor.
Nice.
Follow me on TikTok at J3 Boxing, and you can see some of my live streams where I go live in my studio, and I'm looking to get some students, whether they're in person or online, and just kind of pay that forward.
That's awesome. All right, now you are representing Darth Vader tonight. Why did you pick this character?
Oh, why would I not pick this character? This is the Dark Lord of the Sith himself. You know, He's got a bit of a breathing problem, maybe some of that asthma going on, and he probably shops at Black & Decker, but I am a huge Star Wars nerd. It's probably my default fandom right there.
Cool. Now, are there any Darth Vader boxing moves that you teach in your class?
Yeah,
Not yet.
just go for the throat. Punch choke.
There it is. Nice. All right.
Choke,
and with
yes.
that, it's time for tonight's Tale of the Tape. The Tale of the Tape is brought to you by the American Turkey Council, who wants you to know that while Thanksgiving is over, but we've got all these turkeys here. So maybe, buy another one and help us out. Sure, you've got leftover turkey already, and that's great. But you know what's better? The whole other turkey. Turkey, it's foul, but it's not foul. All right. Tonight's matchup is a big one that cuts right to the heart of geek culture. On one side, we have Doctor Doom, arch enemy of Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four in Marvel Comics. Doom was created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and first appeared in the Fantastic Four #5 in 1962. Doctor Doom is the dictator leader of the Eastern Europe country of Latveria. Is that even remotely accurate? I want to say Latvia, but Latveria. Known as a genius scientist and an elite level magic user, Doom is always more than a handful to any hero he may find himself up against. On the other side is Darth Vader. Vader was created by George Lucas and first appeared in Star Wars Episode #4, A New Hope, back in 1977. Darth Vader is the classic movie antagonist. Born Anakin Skywalker and raised with Jedi training at a young age, Vader famously rebuked the ways of the Jedi and joined the dark side. Armed with his signature lightsaber and force powers, Vader is always a menacing and dangerous foe to deal with. All right, that's the basics for each combatant. It is time to introduce your opponent for today. Hailing from the Detroit metro area, there's a 99% chance that he has been to more Insane Clown Posse concerts than you have. It is Ray Stakenas. Ray, how are you feeling tonight?
I feel like who's going chicken hunting? We's going chicken hunting, Mr. Sam Proof. We have finished Turkey Day. Our Thanksgiving was, of course, a success, and we are on to the excitable Christmas season. And what better Christmas gift for the fans of the Who Would Win show? I was sitting back and I was like, who can we get as a special surprise guest debater on the Who Would Win Masters show that I know that our fan base would connect with and I know would matter historically for the Who Would Win over. Is that a word? I made it up. Maybe I didn't.
Maybe.
Anyway, we got Jay Sandlin here today. This is somebody that I have not really met face-to-face with before, only briefly through various social media encounters. And I know Jay can debate. I know Jay can do this thing. I've heard him do it many, many times before. and I'm excited for him to give it a go again. You know what they say about like any pro wrestler is they've always got, they're retired, but they always got their tights in the bag in the trunk of the car, just waiting for the call to go back in the ring again. And I am excited to give Jay this opportunity today. And I'm excited for you, the people, to check it out and be a part of it.
All right, well, let's get back to making our own history. It is time for the rules in under 1 minute. Here are your rules for Who Would Win Masters in 1 minute. Number 1, there will be 3 timed rounds with counterpoints allowed. Number 2, characters will have no prior knowledge of their opponent and no outside interference will be allowed. Number 3, keep the characters in character. Outliers and crossovers will be given less weight. Number 4, battles can be won by death, knockout, battlefield removal, or incapacitation. And number 5, after the battle, I will give my unofficial opinion as to who wins and why. However, I am just one voice. It will be up to all of you on our social media and our Patreon to make your voices heard as to who won. All right, and with that being said, it is time to get started. Jay, as our guest, you will start with the first round. 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
All right, so I'm talking canon Vader here. This is no Legends or Expanded Universe, but this is the Disney canon. So we're taking the movies, the films, the TV shows, both animated and live action, and the comic books, the canon comic books, to get a sense of which Vader I'm talking about here. Because my man Vader, he's not just a fighter, he's not just a warrior, he's a great strategist and master force user, which is kind of to my first point with Darth Vader versus Doctor Doom. The key to Vader winning is going to come down to exploiting Doom's one consistent weakness, and that's his emotion. Now, here we do have a chance encounter. They don't know anything about each other, but Vader has the Force, and he can sense things off his opponent. Like with Luke Skywalker, he sensed Luke's fear in Empire Strikes Back. With Luke's in Return of the Jedi, he could sense that Luke had a sister. That was his weakness. In Star Wars, the Jedi called that the Shatter Point. So what is Doom's Shatter Point exactly? His real Achilles heel is his psychology. Because even Stan Lee and Marvel writers have said that Doom's ego and his emotional instability are how his opponents defeat him. And Vader is a master of emotional domination. And the Force is perfectly suited to attack Doom in ways that Doom cannot armor himself from. So, step 1, take this. Vader opens with Force intimidation. Doom is vulnerable to this. Vader has shaken people up like Luke and Jedi, Sith, Inquisitors, entire rooms of enemies. He would use fear projection, Force presence pressure, emotional sensing, and bring up that emotional attack on Doom. The Sith call that Doom Mock, actually. And Doom's armor has 0 documented defenses against telepathic or empathic intimidations. So Vader could read Doom's mind, but he doesn't really need to read his mind. I feel like Doom's mind is a, what would you call it? Flashing red light of this ego.
30 seconds remaining.
So for my first point, Vader doesn't even need to really get into the fight. He needs to disrupt Doom emotionally even before he starts fighting.
All right, that is a very strong first point. Ray, 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
Yeah, I find that to be very, very interesting. The idea that he would have tried to attack him emotionally. That's not an angle I really considered. But the thing I know about Darth Vader and a lot of these Siths that are out there is they're trying to corrupt people like the Joker does with Batman. And they try to say, see, if I can bring you down to my level of evil, you'll be just like me and you'll join the Sith and you'll be one of my teammates and everything. The problem with doing that to somebody who's already very angry and evil is he'll just agree. Like, he'll say, "Oh, strike me down with anger," and Doom will be like, "Yeah, man, no problem. I'll just go ahead and do that," because that's who he is to start with. So I don't know if the manipulation would necessarily corrupt this particular fellow. And the thing I want to talk about in my point number one is the magic. Because I know Darth Vader's got the Force, and I know Jay is going to talk about the Force, because if I was him, I would. And so I believe that that's going to be coming probably in a later point, because it's very, very strong. But the magic of Doctor Doom, I would argue, is even stronger. He trained under Doctor Strange. And in the world of Marvel Comics, he is either the first or the second greatest magic user of that universe, depending on what day it is. You know, some days he puts some stuff out there that's bigger than Stephen Strange. Someday the Sorcerer Supreme puts out stuff bigger than him, but they're always jockeying for position 1 and 2, like the Lions and Packers, if you will. We don't talk about the Bears. What I'm trying to say here is that he also uses his magic in many different ways. He has summoning powers. Now, I know we're not going to get too heavy in the weeds. I don't want to get too heavy into Doombots, because I don't know. That feels wrong to me. I think Doctor Doom versus Darth Vader, if I try to bring the argument that he's going to bring like 700 Doombots to the table and win that way, I think that's a lame argument, because I just don't believe it. I want to see these two in a ring toe-to-toe. So I'll just mention the fact that Doctor Doom can do a lot of summoning as far as monsters and robots goes, and I'll just leave that at my point number one. This is a guy who could teleport all around if he wants to. Teleportation, not really something you see in the Star Wars universe. They tend to stay, as weird as it sounds, a little closer to reality, despite the space wizards flying around. So teleportation would probably throw him for a loop. Doom also has healing magic as well, and an important thing that he can do is negate other people's magic, or even reverse their magic when they try to cast it on him. If Vader goes for one of his famed Force moves, the Force push and what have you, I believe that Doctor Doom, to me, a Force is just a type of magic, and maybe Jay will argue something different here, but I think as far as counter magic goes, naturally, Doctor Doom is very, very good at it. He can also mind control, but Darth Vader's probably too strong. The thing I will point out to end my point here, he will also use his magic to create portals and teleport people away from him. If for somehow Vader gets in a little bit too close for comfort, you know that Doom can just, well, send him packing.
All right, another strong start. Jay, you have 60 seconds for your first counterpoint, starting now.
Great point, Ray. Great point. And it was going to be some things I was going to touch on anyway in my next point. But as a counterpoint, I'm going to say that Doombots feel a little outside the range of a one-on-one battle. I might say that's a little bit into cheating. But with as far as magic and the Force, I don't agree that the Force and magic are tantamount to one another. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit here, too.
You know, I had a weird feeling you would say that, Jay.
All right.
What you gonna do?
I guess we'll discover more about that in a later point, hopefully, possibly. A really strong start from both sides, and I guess we're gonna have to see where it goes in point number 2 after this break. All right, welcome back. We're going to get right into point number 2, and no means to force it. Up now with 3 minutes on the
Come
clock.
on, Sam.
Hey, come on. What? That's how it goes. 3 minutes on the clock for our guest, Jay Sandlin, starting now.
All right, so point number 2, let's get into that Force versus magic here a little bit. You see, Vader's signature move is the Force choke. And I'm going to argue that works on Doom, and here's why. The choke is not telepathy, it's not a spell, it's not something he has to conjure, it's pure telekinesis. Meaning it bypasses magic wards, it bypasses psychic shields, it bypasses the metal armor, all of those tech defenses, it attacks his body directly. Now, Doom has no feat of resisting invisible, omnidirectional telekinesis, constriction from a being with Vader's power level. So Vader's strategy, once he has linked his mind to him and understood a bit about him, stop Doom's breathing without warning. Doom's armor, it provides air, but if Vader crushes those internal components, Doom's sustenance systems fail him. And that's going to separate Doom from his armor. Because, the armor is magically bound, yes, but Vader does not need to remove it. We have seen the Force crush, and it was in Star Wars Obi-Wan Episode 5 where Vader actually stopped an entire starship from pulling out of a bay and ripped the doors off, that Durasteel. In the Vader 2017 comics, he also was able to rip Fortress Inquisitorius and pull in the ocean. So taking out a fortress, ripping and crushing starships. I see him having no problem crushing those joints, twisting his gauntlets, bending the helmet, just ripping that metal hull of Doom in that armor. And once that armor's gone, once he's crushed inside, I don't see Doom being able to continue. How's he going to cast a spell when he's been crushed like a tin can? So, in short, Vader's going to interfere with Doom's tech and displays with the Force, almost like a Force EMP, because Vader has routinely interrupted droid sensors, ship controls, targeting systems, electronics. He does that by a dark side domination, induced fear fields, and direct telekinetic crush of circuitry. So to my knowledge, Doom's armor, it's not immune to electromagnetic interference. And if his HUD goes blind for even a moment, Doom's going to lose that technical control. And a blind Doom equals a dead Doom.
All right. Ray, 3 minutes on the clock for Dr. Doom, starting now.
Well, that's a pretty fantastic argument you have there. I do have answers, of course, for everything that you just said, because what am I doing here if I don't? First off, I'm going to talk about the suit itself. It's so weird that it would lead me into my second point, but here we are. This big thing about the suit that you need to know, it is magical suit, and it is also technologically superior. It's like, what if Iron Man met Doctor Strange and they worked together to build something awesome? And that suit in particular has adaptive defenses. So what you need to know about it has natural, like kind of AI defenses against all kinds of attacks. And it's self-aware and it's adaptive. It's like the Borg. And it always has the ability to, on the fly, improve its capabilities and what it's doing against a new thing that it recognizes as a threat. Like, for example, and I don't know for a fact, but if all of a sudden his windpipe started to close down, I could absolutely see a situation where it would find a way to get him air anyway, despite the fact that his throat was being constricted. Of course, if he goes ahead and just rockets forth and punches Vader in the face while he's standing out there with his hand outstretched, I got a feeling he's going to let go of the hold. I'm just saying. What I'm going to talk now about the suit, though, is some of the bonuses of the suit. Massive strength increase. Vader's not weak by any stretch of the imagination, but Dr. Doom once punched the Hulk in the suit and drew blood. I don't think if Vader punched the Hulk, he would draw blood. I'm just saying. He once smashed a diamond in his hand. So there is a massive strength advantage. All Doom has to really do is get his hands on Vader. Look, if Luke can do whatever he's going to do, I'm thinking of Luke, Darth Vader, and the Emperor. So if Darth Vader can pick the Emperor up above his head and throw him, I have to imagine with 10 times, 100 times the strength that Dr. Doom is doing, he just has to pick up Vader and throw him down a ventilator shaft or something. Just saying. His durability is also fantastic with the suit. He's fought with the Thing, fisticuffs, and been fine. Also the Hulk. Also, he did take lightning from Storm. So if Force lightning becomes a thing in this battle, know that he's already taken Storm's lightning and was able to keep going. Heck, he fell on an atomic grenade at a dinner party. Wow. He's also got a tremendous force field, and this is where you got to worry about the Force. A force field? I think that would protect him from the Force, but I'm crazy. Maybe it's just verbiage. The point I'm trying to say here is that he took hits from Captain Britain, and he almost felt it. He once tanked Cyclops and Iron Man's standard laser attacks, but he also shoots energy blasts of his own. He fired a plasma blast, which basically mixes in magic, spiritual energy, and plasma energy at the same time. Vader's not ready for that. Vader's not even close to being ready for that. And since his suit is both tech and magic, those type of magical defenses are absolutely a part of it. Not to mention his normal magic, which might be enough to shut down something like a force choke. But the thing I say about Vader is a lot of people talk about the force choke in this battles, and I think give it a little bit too much power. Who is he doing force chokes to? He didn't do it to Luke. He didn't do it to the Emperor when he had a chance to. In fact, he only does it to like peons on the bridge of starships that have no mental defense for it. High mental defense, aka Emperor, Luke, whoever, they tend to beat the force choke, and he doesn't even try it.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock for Jay's counterpoint starting now.
That's a great point, Ray. Very well argued with the durability and strength feats. Hard to argue some of those feats. I know that Doctor Doom is a tough opponent, one of the best in the Marvel Universe. I'm going to say, though, while Vader may have an issue with the strength of Doom, that force choke, he's able to do that to people across galaxies. It was in Vader 2015, issue 6. He was able to remotely choke agents across like interstellar distances. So I feel like keeping Doom at a distance with that force choke, which leads into the force crush, just crushing that armor like it's a tin can, like a soda can, would really be to his advantage against the strength and against those feats, like you mentioned. Very good points, though. Very, very good.
All right. It's just getting started, it feels like. I'm excited to see what happens in our third and final point when we come back from this break. All right, welcome back. It is our third and final point of the debate. Jay starting us off once again, 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
All right, so I threw it out there. Vader is able to attack Doom's ego. He's able to attack Doom's armor. Once he's got him separated from that armor or compromised in that armor, we're going to go into the one thing that Doom can't counter, and I'm talking about the lightsaber. Because Doom's armor, though impressive, a lightsaber can still cut through anything except for, metals in the Star Wars universe. So on this level playing field, I'm going to argue the lightsaber can cut through his armor. That lightsaber has cut through blast doors, starship hulls, magma-drenched durasteel, and shielded compounds. Doom's armor is not made out of anything that should outperform that. But I would say that once he's disrupted that armor, just chopping through with that Form 5 lightsaber combat he uses, Gem So, Count Dooku had said that Anakin was as fine of a Form 5 master as he had seen in nearly, 100 years of his time as a Jedi. So that whole finishing sequence of Vader winning, he's going to sense Doom's anger, give him a perfect read on what Doom may do next, force crush the breathing apparatus. Doom may begin casting a spell or firing an attack, but I see the force choke stopping him from completing a lot of those incantations, as well as force stasis field. He used that to freeze people in place. It happened to Obi-Wan in their final duel in the Obi-Wan series. Keep Doom frozen in place, keep him in a stasis, slam him around telekinetically. Even Thor, Hulk, and Surfer have knocked the Doom around, like we talked about, but close that distance and use the lightsaber to breach the armor. Even one focus cut behind the knee, through the chest plating, or go for decapitation. Doom collapses, no breath, no focused, armor ruined, systems fried. His pride will be shattered, and that's how you really beat Doctor Doom, is to shatter the man's pride. And that's a big victory for Vader. I don't see Doom having a counter for those force powers, the emotionally based
30
powers.
seconds remaining.
He needs to destabilize Doom to where he loses focus and that advantage collapses.
Can you riff for like 20 more seconds?
So the Force, and to speak of the Force, it's not energy, it's not magic, it's not technology. It's a universal field that Doom has never encountered or prepared for. It bypasses his armor, his shields, and it's quicker than his spells. Vader's going to break him emotionally, crushing him physically, and cut him down spiritually. See, Doom has, in my opinion, has never beaten someone who can attack that mind, body, armor, and then have this laser sword that can just turn him into, Swiss cheese? Latvian cheese. Are you a fan of Latvian cheese?
I have to believe that Latvian cheese is like that kind that with all the maggots in it that I saw in The Amazing Race that I probably don't want any part of.
That's that's just horrifying. All right, 3
It was
minutes on the
gross.
clock. Yeah, no, I'm shocked that you think I didn't understand that point. But let's see what you have in point number 3 for Doctor Doom. 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
Absolutely. Now, the lightsaber is phenomenal, and I knew obviously the lightsaber was probably going to come into it, but there's a moment in Star Wars history that upsets me. Remember when Kylo Ren in the sequels got really mad at, and then he started taking it out of that computer panel, and he started wailing on it with the lightsaber, right? This lightsaber that cuts through all metal and everything didn't really seem like it did a ton to that computer panel. Like, I would have thought that like parts of the ship would be missing after a Sith Lord wails on a computer, but that computer panel was like, okay, it wasn't functional, but like, you could still get some money for it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I love the lightsabers, but you got to remember, I agree. The lightsaber maybe against Doctor Doom's armor has a shot, but against the force fields that can block light and heat and that kind and energy blasts, like I've already said, like from Cyclops, I don't know that it's going to get through the force field to get to the armor. But what I also want to say here is that Vader fights from strength. Vader needs to be physically intimidating and superior, and he needs to kind of talk down to his opponent, get the fear in them, like you said, Jay. I don't think Doctor Doom would play that game, though. I think Doctor Doom would stand up to literally anyone in any circumstance and believe himself to be the superior. And when Vader does not fight from a place of strength, such as in the Return of the Jedi, at the end, he's in trouble. He starts to lose it. He's getting a little slower, a little worse. He knows the intimidation doesn't work. And then when he has to actually step up and prove it, he doesn't always get it done. Look, willpower of Doctor Doom is important, especially against a Force user. Strongly willed characters do not succumb to Force powers like other ones do. The Jedi mind trick, it only works against pukey stormtroopers and idiots. It doesn't work against Luke, right? Well, Doctor Doom overcame the Purple Man and then weaponized him to take over the world. That's like the number one take over your mind guy in Marvel Comics. Emma Frost tried as well, did not succeed. He can also hold his body together with psychic energy, a little bit like Leia did outside the starship in that one Star Wars movie nobody likes. Look, he's a guy who escaped hell by riding Mjolnir out of it. He grabbed Captain America's shield out of midair when it was thrown at him, and in one fluid motion flung it right back. Sometimes Darth Vader likes to throw his lightsaber. He's not going to like it when it's thrown right back in his face. He's got a time travel time cube built into his armor. I'm not going to worry as much about that, but he does have a personal energy adapter, and this is important. It allows him to siphon power from others into his armor. He can drain the power out of other people. He drains the power cosmic from a robot Hulk during their fight. You don't think he could drain the power from Darth Vader strong with the Force? He's done it with the Beyonder, a Rogue Watcher, and Silver Surfer as well. I'm just saying, if his ability to, drain people's powers comes into play, which it should, Darth Vader is not on the level as those other characters.
All right, well, let's see if Jay can drain some good points in his final counterpoint. 60 seconds on the clock, starting now.
Final counterpoint, and that was a great one, Ray. I do think that Vader would have to pick up some speed a bit and really work on neutralizing Doom quickly, especially getting that lightsaber out there. Doom himself, has a lot of great feats, like you've pointed out. his empire is built on that preparation, control, and ego. But you strip away one of those pillars, and he becomes a lot more mortal than Vader, in my opinion. And we already know he doesn't have any prep. So I think Vader strips away his strength in a matter of seconds. And from there, the fight is really decided by power and speed. I already argued Vader's telekinesis is not energy based or magical. It's not blocked by metal, or it's not blocked by his mental powers, which I don't think Vader would ever even attempt to do a mind trick on Doom. That would be a waste of time. But Doom cannot cast if he cannot breathe, cannot chant, cannot focus. I still say Vader's going to crush those internals, lock his limbs up, and just get into him with that lightsaber. And if Doom can survive that opening assault, he's facing a weapon that his magic and technology is just not built to counter.
All right, and as with every show, Ray has not had counterpoints, so he does get the final thoughts. Ray, when you're ready.
Yeah, I think this has been a very interesting and unique battle, and I am so excited that Jay Sandlin was able to come on the show and had the time for us today. Jay, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you coming on the show to have a little bit of Who Would Win history here on the Who Would Win Masters show. So thank you very much for coming. Now, that said, I absolutely destroyed you. I absolutely won this battle with Dr. Doom. I love Darth Vader. He's one of my all-time, look, everybody's favorite villain is Darth Vader. Let's keep it real. But I think Darth Vader is a little bit more grounded, tethered to reality, weird to say, than Dr. Doom is. And I think that Dr. Doom has certain magics, especially given his magical armor, that he doesn't necessarily need to be like shouting spells like he's the protagonist from Skyrim doing dragon shouts. I don't think he necessarily needs that. But I also don't think that that Darth Vader is going to lean 100% into his force choke from the start, and it will be effective. I like that point, and I see why that point is important to the argument. I just fully disagree with it. One, based on the willpower of Dr. Doom against all of those other telepaths and very strong-willed characters, and also the magical armor, finding a way around it. Supposing, like, at its worst scenario, it does work, and he does start feeling the choke on him. One, to me, that pressures him to get in on Vader quickly with his super Hulk strength and just knock him out of the ship, because if Vader can't concentrate, he can't force choke. We also know that to be true. So I think it's a combination of the magic, the supreme tech, which gives him sort of this beyond strength, durability, and speed that Vader's just not ready to deal with. And you throw the little bits of magic on top. I do think Dr. Doom is too much in a first encounter for Darth Vader, but Darth Vader's a heck of a character, and you did him intense justice today. I don't know what Sam's going to say. I don't know what the people are going to say. But that's what I think.
All right, gang, I am going to sit down with this and think about what you've done, and I will be right back with my decision.
Sam has weighed all the points made. Two figures met in collision. Now let's find out who would win. It's time to hear Sam's decision.
All right, guys, this was an insane matchup, and I think we knew that coming into it. These are two of the best villains out there. This was straight out of the gate a force punch to the throat, and that being said, Ray's argument that Vader has no record of using the choke on anyone of any real willpower, and that it's not his first move, did stand. The remote force choke Zoom call or not. Doom's armor is a magical tech combo, and while dismissing the force punch being Vader's initial move, I would have liked to have heard an example of Doom's armor actually doing something that adapts to get him past some kind of choke if that did pull it off. While Ray's argument that the force is just Star Wars word for magic, I find a bit flimsy, and maybe Doom can't negate that quite as much as if it actually was magic. Now, I would cut to the point that if Vader can't easily get Doom out of his armor, even his lightsaber won't help him up against someone that can just project a force field and simply teleport away. For me, as a first time random encounter, the clear winner is Rey with Doctor Doom. But hey, I'm just one voice in all of this. It is up to all of you to make your voices heard on our social media and Patreon. Rey, thank you. Jay.
No, but
Jay,
thank me as well. Thank me as well,
Thanks,
Sam.
Ray.
I'm here every week. You're
Well,
welcome.
I want
Jay,
to tip
thank
my
you.
hat to you.
Come on.
I tip my hat to you, Ray. That was a well-fought battle, and I knew that Dr. Doom was going to be one hard, that was going to be a tough one to beat.
Yeah, and let me just say right now, Jay, I appreciate that very much. I thought that you absolutely brought the heat, shaking the rust off after a little time away from doing who would win battles. Darth Vader also, not a joke. He is a threat in his own way, and you brought up ideas and points that as much research as I do and as hard as I go on these battles, you still came at me from directions I was not expecting, and that just means you still got it. Let me just go ahead and be the first to say it's obvious that you have been in a fight before.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know who would say I haven't.
That'd be crazy if someone said that.
Yeah, no, this was a great job done by both of you. And like the punches literally just kept flying virtually, thankfully. So well done. And yeah, we'll have to see what the people say. Any final thoughts, Jay? Before we let you go, do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, check me out on TikTok at J3Boxing, j3boxing.com. If you want to hop on my journey to health, fitness, both mentally, physically, spiritually, trying to better myself and those around me, check it out, and maybe you'll find a bit of nerd knowledge put in there as well.
Awesome. All right. Thank you again. Ray, any last words on this?
No, I feel like this is I hope that the people at home, especially the longtime listeners of the Who Would Win family of programs, enjoyed this episode. This is a real, what if scenario, worlds colliding. I really wanted in the month of December in the year 2025 to give a gift to the people at home, especially those who've been with us for a long time, and offer you up something that maybe you weren't expecting, something you didn't know you wanted, but something that deep down you needed in your life. And I hope that this battle did it for you. I look forward to catching you on all of the different social medias. We have a brand new Who Would Win Masters YouTube page, brand new Who Would Win Masters Instagram page. Who knows? We probably got more from there. A Patreon. We probably have some different Patreon in the works right now that we'll probably talk about next week. Wink, wink, wink. That we'll probably be discussing next week that perhaps you want to jump on, especially if you had been a part of the previous Who Would Win Patreon. There are some changes coming up. Trust me on that. Sam's got the deets. I'm just here for the hype. One other thing, Jay, thank you. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I really appreciate this bit of history that we were able to create. And gosh, I hope that rekindled a little bit of fire, maybe got a little bit of that burning sensation that I always feel after a battle. Maybe
there's a cream for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Ray. I'm ready to do it again. You just give the word.
Well, let me tell you,
definitely.
Now that you've done it once, and I can speak from experience, you just want to get back in the saddle again. So don't be surprised if we come calling in the year 2026 to get you back on the show with another AAA primo battle. And I know for a fact it's going to be a real hard one for me to deal with.
Let's do it.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you both. And thank you all for listening, and absolutely make your voices heard on our social media and Patreon. You can keep the debate going at Who Would Win Masters on YouTube and Threads, as well as patreon.com/Who Would Win Show. Tune in next week as Ray and I go over your reviews, your votes, your comments, and wrap this battle up. If you think you've got what it takes to be a part of Who Would Win Masters, record a 1-minute video demo of yourself and send it to whowouldwinmasters@gmail.com. And who knows, maybe you'll be sitting in the challenger's chair next time. For Who Would Win Masters, this is Sam Proof. Stay strong.